Try that again. We are going to give it maybe 1 minute so we can get folks filing in here and also people joining on the platform, on the virtual meeting. We got people rolling in. Good. And we'll get started in just a minute. Okay, let's get started. We are going to make sure, hello, welcome. As people come into the room, we just wanted to give folks a chance to sign in if you haven't done so already. We've got comment cards at the front, so you can grab one of those if you feel like you want to jot things down while we're going through the presentation. It's not a very long presentation, but we will have time for question and answers afterwards. So you are here because we are going to give you an update on the Sunnyvale Caltrain Station Bicycle and Pedestrian Access Study. I want to make sure that folks know that they can participate in two ways. We have those who might be joining by phone. If you are joining by phone, you can listen in, calling in through the and using that meeting ID. You will not be able to, however, put in questions. In order to do that, you need to join by Zoom, and you can place the questions or comments that you have in the Q&A. And then when they get to that portion of the meeting, we will take questions from that chat area. Also, for those of you who would like to hear the presentation in Spanish, we have a QR code for you to scan or type in the link. I'll let that sit there for a second. And you can get the translation simultaneously. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to welcome the team here, introduce them. I also wanted to thank Mayor Klein for being here tonight. We also have our chair, Bryce, who is with the Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Advisory Commission. Thank you, BPAC for short, as we all know it. Okay, so wanted to introduce the team. We have Angela Wong here tonight, who is the city project manager for this, and Lillian Sang, she's behind this wonderful set of computers running our meeting. And then, of course, the Kimley Horn team, we are the consultant team on this project. We have the consultant project manager, Adam Dankberg. We have the deputy project manager, Monica Tanner, and myself, Brandy, who has been helping lead the outreach in the community so far. All right, so tonight we're going to give you a quick project overview and the process to this study. Going to walk through the existing station conditions and some of the potential improvement types that we're looking at implementing. And then we're going to give you the opportunity for input, which is really important. We want to hear from everyone about the potential improvements that we can do in biking and walking, and easier to get to the access the station to hopefully improve and increase transit use. We'll get to next steps, and then we'll get to Q&A, and we can take your questions and comments then. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Angela so she can talk a little bit more about the purpose of the project and why we're here.
Thank you, Brandy. So the focus area of this project is specifically at the Sunnyvale Caltrain station. And the purpose of the project is to identify access and safety improvements as a pedestrian and as a bicyclist trying to access that Sunnyvale Caltrain station. And for just a brief background of how this project actually came about, it was a study issue, and staff applied for the Caltrain Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant, and we were thankfully awarded the grant funding, and that's what is allowing us to make this project move forward. And next slide, please. So the project objectives, so to highlight, first and foremost is that we're trying to improve the access and safety for pedestrians and bicyclists. Doing so will encourage the more people to use the Caltrain, which is a sustainable transportation mode. And furthermore, it will lead to reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Other features of this project is that we are looking to improve the wayfinding signs of how people actually know they're going through this Caltrain station, as well as locating potential art installations and trying to incorporate the green infrastructure around the site. And lastly, with all these great improvements, will become really beneficial for the local businesses around the downtown Sunnyvale station. Downtown Sunnyvale, excuse me. And then finally, so after we've completed the study, we'll be able to have a feasibility list of all these improvements we identified to enhance bicycling and walking and other ways you can get through the station. And doing so will set us up really well for the next phase of the project, which is the design and actually implementing what the community has supported. So I will hand it off to Monica to get a little more familiar with the project.
Thanks, Angela. So the study area overall is the area surrounding the Caltrain station. The map you see on the left is showing the bicycle and walking sheds. And so what we typically do is look at how far can people get in a 10-minute walk or 10-minute bike from a certain location. And so those little areas that you see are showing like where someone could walk within 10 minutes from the station and bike. And so we use as a helpful frame of reference to understand, where people are coming from and going to when they come to the station. But a lot of our improvements will be focused around this area on the right, kind of outlined in the black square, really honing in around the station, the streets adjacent to it, from Astoria to Sunnyvale Ave, and then California to Washington Ave. So we'll really be focusing on this area for different improvements, understanding how it connects to BTA right now, and other existing and planned bicycle connections. So the project's broken up into three main portions. Right now, we're in the evaluation existing condition phase, understanding current travel behaviors in the area, any collision history, understanding previous planning work that the city has done so far, to get a really good baseline foundation of information of the area. And we have this round of engagement that you guys are currently participating in. Next, with all the information we receive during this first phase, we'll then identify and refine some different recommendations and improvements for improving bicycle and pedestrian access around the station. We'll be looking at some of the feedback we receive about where there's some pain points in the areas, and again, identify solutions that we can propose, and then refine them based on community feedback. And then we'll conclude with a final study documenting all this work we're doing, and provide some recommendations for the city to then take forward and kind of do some future projects. So we know that this project is building on some previous work that the city has already done. Two projects we want to note. One is the downtown specific plan that the city updated last year. In this plan, they identified some key corridors for pedestrians to access the station and downtown Sunnyvale itself too. And so we really want to understand the previous work done before these key pedestrian corridors, and really want to make sure we're enhancing them, as well as the planned bicycle connections and future planned routes, getting people to downtown Sunnyvale and the Caltrain station, and then kind of really helping take the next step from this planning effort to, again, identify specific projects for improving them. And then the city also worked on active transportation plan in 2020, which identified some key improvements to the bicycle network. Some improvements have actually been constructed. You'll see in the map on the left, the dashed lines were the proposed bicycle improvements. And again, some of them have already been realized itself. On Sunnyvale Avenue, you already know today we have the class 2 buffer bike lanes implemented. And so again, our project and team is taking this information and making sure that the recommendations we're coming up with are in line with these previous planning documents. And on the right side, the plan itself also identified the downtown area as a focus area for improvements, and then identified some of these key locations in the red dots as needing some additional attention for pedestrian improvements. The plan mentioned that they looked at different safety information of the area, and that's how they came up with the locations identified through that planning effort. So, a key piece of this is also Caltrain's ridership. I'm not sure if any of you knew, but within Santa Clara County, Sunnyvale is the 4th busiest station with an average of over 1,000 riders on a weekday, as seen in the graph on the right side. And many of you might have also known that Caltrain recently electrified its fleet. And with that, we're getting some more frequent stops at the Sunnyvale station. So before I think it was 3 trains per hour. Now the station will have 4 trains per hour in each direction during the AM and PM peaks. And so with that, more opportunities for people to be connecting along the Caltrain corridor and coming to and from downtown Sunnyvale. Our partners at Caltrain were kind enough to provide us with some great information on how people are getting to and from the station. And so they shared that when people are traveling to the Caltrain station in Sunnyvale, 31% are walking, 34% are biking, and 35% are either taking a private vehicle or transit or getting picked up or dropped off. And then when people are arriving at the Sunnyvale station, almost 30% are walking to their final destination, 20% are biking, about 51% are taking transit or their private vehicle. So it's really great to see how many people are already using walking and biking to get to and from the station, and really helps reinforce the need for this project to make sure those connections are great for people as they're coming to and out of downtown. So we had the opportunity to take some walking site tours of the study area with some stakeholders, and we've identified some key challenges. And again, a part of this round of outreach, we're really looking for the community's feedback on other places that you guys are noticing that are challenging to walk or bike when you're around the station. So some things that we've noticed is that the parking structure or parking area under Matilda Avenue, there's some challenges and not direct pathways for people getting to and from there to the Caltrain station. Some of the bike racks in the area don't allow for secure bike parking. There is that dirt path that's connecting people from the parking below Matilda to the station. And that's not the best for people, especially with strollers or wheelchairs, because it is gravel. There's some disconnections in the sidewalk along Evelyn, making it challenging for people walking to get to their final destination. There's some challenges on Hendy Avenue with, again, just a crosswalk and no sidewalk directly next to the Caltrain corridor. We noticed some challenges with the sidewalk, pavement itself, sometimes hard accessing with existing utility infrastructure on the sidewalk, and then wayfinding, really letting people know that when they come to Sunnyvale, where they can get to downtown, how they can get around the community. So there's just some of the things that we've noticed. And again, we're really looking forward to hearing your input on what else you think we can improve. So as we're thinking through some of our improvements, here are some potential solutions that our team might identify. Some relate to people walking and biking, and we actually have a board here in the room for you to provide your feedback on after this presentation on what are some of these solutions that you're really looking forward to seeing. So pedestrian plazas, making sure there's really great inviting places for people to congregate and gather as they wait and are in downtown. High visibility crosswalks, making it clear for people who are walking and drivers, being able to know where people should be coming from and going to. ADA curb ramps, some of the pedestrian push buttons where you can just wave rather than having to push the button itself. And then in the bicycle improvements, providing buffered or protected bike lanes, giving people some more sense of security as they're biking. Pedestrian scrambles, that's something that you guys have, the city's already implemented on Homestead and South Mary. Some additional wayfinding signage to get people aware where they can navigate around the Caltrain station and downtown, and then pedestrian lighting as well. So there's some ideas of some solutions that we're thinking might be applicable here, but again, really tailor them to the feedback we receive from the community. So wanted to let you guys know about what you can expect in these 2 rounds of outreach that we have for this project. So right now we're in round 1. We have an online survey available. We have a QR code on the side to the right and on the city's website where you can access the survey. We've had a pop-up event 2 weekends ago at the station, and the city will be having another one in the coming weeks to gather feedback from people who currently ride the train, especially on the commute hours. We've done presentations at the BPAC, and we held a nice stakeholder walk audit already too. And so all of this is helping us understand where we should be investing our time in identifying improvements. And then we'll come again in the springtime with our proposed improvements to get your feedback on. We'll have another online survey, pop-ups, we'll hold another community meeting here, have another presentation at the BPAC, and then we'll have stakeholder meetings too to get their feedback. And so overall, that will help us refine our improvements and inform all of the things that we recommend in the final plan. So the next steps, after this engagement, we'll review the feedback we receive, identify those improvements, assess if they're feasible, connect with the BPAC again, and then come back to you in the springtime. And now I'll pass it to Brandy about how you can engage right now.
Now it's your part. All right. We just wanted to once again talk about how you can provide input into this process. There's a number of ways. We do have the survey up on the city's website. There are two types. There's a question survey that we really want you to get to and answer. I think it's like 10 or 12 questions. But then there's an interactive map where you can go on, and I'll show that here in a minute, where you can go and drop pins and leave comments. So we'll show you how to get through that. But then you can also email the good old fashioned way to Angela Wong here at the city, or call her. And then of course, attend any meetings that are coming up that we're going to be promoting on the website. So this is the another way you can scan the QR code. I'm getting feedback here. Let me jump to the interactive map. And this is always, I think, a really great way to tell your story. We want to know if it's bicycle, if it's walking, if there's any transit issues you're experiencing, or just have a genuine challenge or another idea that we can consider. You drop the marker on the map and it'll open a comment box, and you can put in more details and information there. And then we'll gather all of that and come back to you and let you know what we found in the spring. Before we move to questions, is there anyone online that we may need to give some attention to, or any questions or comments? No, not yet. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so now's your time. If you are online, you can put in your questions, you can put in some comments, and we'll go to you and give you some attention. But for now, we're going to turn our attention to the folks in the room. Yeah. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I did. We'll let it hang there so you can get on. All right. Any questions or comments? Anything you all want to add? It's nice to see some familiar faces. So we were out at the pop-up like Monica mentioned earlier, I guess mid-month, the Caltrain electrification event. It was pretty crowded, but I got a chance to talk to quite a few folks, and they were just really thrilled that the city is prioritizing safety and access at the station. So kudos to the city for that. Encourage people to write stuff in the Q&A. Yes, let me encourage more folks online to please use the Q&A function on Zoom to drop in comments and questions, please. Yes, you can speak from, I think you do push it so it goes red. Thanks.
My question is, with all of the surveys that you guys have done and all of the targeted areas that you guys are working on for improvement, have you guys considered and looked into, and I don't know what it's maybe called, maybe it's called something specific and I'd love to know the name, but just the signage for mental health awareness? Like we've had a death recently at the Caltrain, and a couple years ago my son passed away, suicide at the Caltrain station in Sunnyvale, and I'd really like to see some improvements in making it safer for people that are having challenges with their mental health.
I can, first of all, sorry to hear that. And we're sorry for your loss. That is something that we could actually look into with Caltrain too. I know they do a fabulous job of putting information. They do a really great campaign when it comes to asking for help, and they have a hotline. But that gets to the kind of the signage and wayfinding that we're looking at improving at the station. So we'll take that comment and we'll follow up. Hello, thanks for joining us. Come on up.
So one of the things
Just push the red.
okay, yeah. So one of the things which prevents people from using the Caltrain is just like last mile, like getting from the station to their home, like over longer distances. Have you considered installing a bicycle share system around Caltrain in the downtown area so that people can get more easily to and from downtown, like any time of day, even when buses aren't running?
It's a good question. Might defer. I don't know, Lillian, or are you aware of the history of bike share?
So if it's something that's on the Caltrain platform, is not within the city right of way. So I understand that in the past, Caltrain has talked about looking at bike share program with some of the vendors. I'm not exactly sure where they are on that. We could check in with them to see if they are proceeding with that. And within the city, we did have a vendor that implemented bike share, no, not bike share, scooter mobility share. However, due to their change of business, they haven't really been implementing they haven't really been actively in implementing or putting out their devices out on Sunnyvale streets. So right now we're still in a pilot program with them, and we haven't heard from other vendors who are interested in deploying within the Sunnyvale. So we're open to that, but then at the same time, we don't have a formal program. We have a pilot program.
Thank you for that question. Other questions? Come on up.
You said it's on if it's
Yeah,
red.
you're
okay.
good. You're hot.
Yeah, and a couple kind of pet peeves of mine in the downtown area near the Caltrain station is that if you're, I don't know, running to make the train or something, many of the most of the intersections require that you press a button in order for the light to turn white so you can cross the pedestrian. The problem is that if you arrive in the middle of a cycle where the traffic parallel to the direction you're crossing is green, and there may be enough time for you to cross the street, you press the button and you have to wait for a whole other cycle before you can cross. In many cities, I'm from New York originally. I moved here recently, and even in smaller cities in the downtown areas, the lights will just be on a cycle, so you don't have to press a button. It'll cycle automatically through pedestrian crossing and traffic going the opposite direction. So I noticed you had a proposal. To modify the buttons to make it a little easier you could wave at it. It would be better if you just remove them entirely, to be honest, I think. I don't know if there are other considerations with that, but the other thing for me is that it would be awesome if there were a way to cross, I think it's McKinley, no, if there'll be a way to cross Washington Avenue at Aries Way. Right now, I believe, if I have the street names correct, there's no crosswalk there. So you have to, and though the sidewalk continues on both sides, if you continue north or south on Aries, you have to go all the way over to Matilda, cross there, and then back, and then continue on Aries, and that's kind of frustrating, especially, and once you learn it, you know it. But my first time walking down there from the station, I just assumed you could walk straight through. So it was kind of annoying to have to go all the way out to Matilda and back. So it'd be awesome if there were a crosswalk there. That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great feedback. We'd love for you to put that on the interactive map too. We're recording that here, but that would be really cool for you to mark exactly what you're talking about. Thank you so much.
I mean, that is I'll just second that. That's exactly a perfect type of comment that we want to be hearing. So thank you for providing that. Just in case you're wondering, the technical term for that is pedestrian recall, is sort of what it's known as in the industry when you don't have to push the button, it just comes on every time. And that is a great feature to have, particularly in high pedestrian downtown areas. Sort of the one trade-off, not saying that we wouldn't do it because of this, but the trade-off to know is sometimes that does impact transit travel time. Like the buses would have to wait. Like if there's no pedestrian crossing, then sometimes the buses would have to wait longer, for that. So that's kind of the trade-off. I'm not.
Confines of the downtown area probably it wouldn't make sense on something like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just that when you're speaking not to the mic, it won't be captured, and so people online will be able to hear you.
Yeah,
we
but
can talk
appreciate
more.
appreciate the comment. That's something we'll definitely take a look at.
Okay, come on up.
Yeah, so I also live in the Sunnyvale downtown area on Evelyn too. One thing that and I also own a bike and try to use it as often as I can. One thing that I definitely have noticed, especially going down West Evelyn, is like the lack. While we do have bike lanes, they're quite close to traffic, and even within the downtown Sunnyvale area, like this general like speed of cars increases pretty dramatically as soon as you leave just that small corridor of like downtown Sunnyvale. So potentially, especially on those like corridors that are parallel to the Caltrain, is there any thought about adding like fully protected bike lanes? I think that would also potentially improve transit, especially for people who live maybe equidistance or like slightly closer to Sunnyvale rather than Mountain View to bike to Caltrain station.
I'm assuming you're referring to Evelyn Avenue west of the station.
Yes.
So we're currently working on a project we're in the design phase right now to implement a multi-use path which will go from the city limit city of Sunnyvale Mountain View city limit around Bernardo Avenue and goes all the way to Matilda Place, which is at the western end of the station.
Yeah.
Looking at my map here. Just thought that'd be helpful.
So we're currently working on a project and it is in the design phase.
Okay.
Great, thank you for that question and comment. I think that's most, yeah, come on, Mr. Chair.
Hey, I'm Bryce. I'm here on my own behalf, not as chair of the city, but I just have, you've heard all my comments otherwise. I just have a couple of questions about this presentation. On slide 10, I just want to make sure the calendar for that is correct. Is there really a 5-month gap between evaluating existing conditions and identify and refine improvement concepts, or is the year wrong there? So it's 2024 fall to 2025 winter, like is.
It's like
We just call
it's
it
like
winter.
January.
Okay, it's January.
2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
February.
And then for the similar with the timeline with the on slide 18 with where it says back to BPAC in winter 2025, that's also just this coming January.
That's correct.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
That's just the questions I had. Thank you.
Yeah. We shouldn't probably do seasons anymore because what season are we in right now? Thank you for that. Okay.
Online folks are being very quiet.
Yes,
so
they are.
We don't.
So we may be okay to close out a meeting officially, but we'd love to hang out a little longer and have you guys come by the boards and talk to staff and have more conversations. So with that, we're going to close the meeting. I will end on the QR code one more time, just in case folks online want to snap that. And yes, Monica. Oh, there it is. Oh, yes. And we're advertising Angela's email again. That's how you can sign up for project updates and get folks to answer your questions or record your feedback. So, yeah.
I just had one question about the survey. What should we do if we, for the first question, if we live like between Central Expressway and El Camino? That doesn't seem to be like on the survey as an option.
Is there an other? I feel like there's another or place that you can write in.
Yeah.
Is that what I would do?
Okay.
I would recommend that.
Okay, yeah.
So we did some general areas, and if you want to put something more specific, use the other. All right, we already have somebody in the map live. Thank you for that.
And I do want to add to asking you guys to anyone who's interested in getting project update to subscribe to this mailing list. I understand that some of the member of the public has received the postcard, which notified them of this project and of this meeting. For future meetings, we will not be sending out additional postcards. So the best way to find out any upcoming meetings or updates about this project would be to subscribe on our city website.
Great. Thank you for emphasizing that.
And just noting, this is a different QR code than the previous one. The previous one was to directly to our survey for this project, and this is to sign up for the updates.
And if you sign in, we can email you after the meeting too. So if you sign in, we can send you links to this.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming.